Hi! Have you ever wanted to be a streamer? Well, here are some of the tools you might need. We're just rolling with it. Obviously, if you're to this point, you've probably already figured out that there are a bunch of different equipment and a bunch of different softwares out there for you to use, but I'm going to tell you about the one that I've been specifically requested to talk about because, honestly, I just want to help some people out. Let's talk about some Streamlabs, because if you're here and you're already watching this video, I'm fairly certain you know why you're here. So, let's go ahead and kick over to the PC, and let's get this tutorial started. Welcome to the webcam. Let's go ahead and get into the software. When you first boot up Streamlabs, there's a couple things that you're going to want to notice that I have all here, but you probably aren't going to get there. So let's talk about some settings first. First thing I want to focus on is that you can go through here and search anything, and that it'll automatically tell you everything that you need to know. Whether you're recording, whether you're just streaming, whether you're buffering, all of those great things, and you can even see what the sources will snap to. Now let's look at the next one, streaming. As you can see here, I'm currently streaming to the YouTube channel that I would prefer. But there's other places you can stream to, i.e. Twitch, Facebook, and another destination. Now, you notice that it says Prime right here. Well, that means that that paid subscription is what you'll be using to stream to multiple locations. But if you weren't on this one, you can switch to either Facebook, Twitch, you can pick whichever one you want. Prime is so that you can go to other ones. Output. Now this is where I'm going to lose some of y'all, but just hold on for a little bit there. While I can give you a rough estimate of what to do for your bitrate, honestly just look up what the best bitrate is for your computer and you can go from there. For me, I have a nice high-end PC with an Ethernet cable with a relatively strong one, so I can do 10,000 megabits per second. Meaning that I can stream at 1080p, but your PC may not be able to handle that, and therefore you have to stream at 720, which streaming and recording are two different things. Recording, you want the higher quality. Streaming doesn't necessarily matter because it's a stream, people will get used to it. Recording, you can do all your recording path findings and all the file sizes and how you want it to do. Recommendation on that, always export to MP4. It's just better. Let's talk about the replay buffer. This gives you a certain amount of time between when they are seeing your stream and versus when you're talking. So think about it like on TikTok, there's an 11-second delay. You can add that on here if that's what you're used to, or you can bring it down way low. I personally like the lowest one I can get. Audio. Pretty much leave this at default. There's not much you're going to need to be able to change in here. Unless you have some questions and you kind of understand what you're doing, it's just best to leave it alone. Now, this is where your more information will come from. If you go to video, you can get your base canvas size and your base output scaled resolution. Note to the wise, keep these the same, it just makes everything a whole lot easier. FPS values, those are going to be more so, you're probably going to be leaning more towards 30 frames per second if you're just talking, but 60 frames per second is good because if you're playing a game or something like that, you're going to want the 60 frames. Hotkeys. Everyone knows what a good hotkey does. There's multiple ones. I can't really recommend any ones because I use what's called a Stream Deck, so all of my hotkeys are outputted to there, but you can fiddle with that if you want. Nothing too complicated there. And that's about all you're really going to need to worry about for the settings. Now, before you get ahead of me and you're probably wondering all these questions, you're probably just wondering, how do I just set up a scene? Also, what is a scene and what do I need in there? Let's go through it. Are these guys down here. Notice how I have my pre-stream, my game stream, and my accidental film stream. That's where you see my camera, and I can also cut over to the B camera and talk to y'all over here, which is my nice professional camera, and I actually prefer to use this one for my streams, but I haven't got that all set up. So, anyway, let's get back to looking at the settings. So you look over here and you have all these, but you're not going to have everything that I have, so let me get you there. We're going to go ahead and add a new scene, name it. Make sure you use naming conventions so that way you can actually tell what you're doing. I'm going to name it Tut. Name it Tut for tutorial. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to add new source. And you get a list of sources. Now, note that they always have these tutorials and everything in here, And there's also many forum pages that you can go to get help, but I'm going to do everything I can right here. So, first thing I want to do is I'm going to add my microphone so you all can hear me. So we're going to go ahead and add audio input capture, add source. Now for me, I already have it saved, but I'll walk you through what it looks like to add a new one. Once you enter the name, you can go into here, change what it looks like. Now I have multiple mics set up, but this is the one that we want to hear right now. Close out of that, and it should be going. Now you can still hear me, but you don't see anything because we haven't put anything else into the scene. Now if I were to come back over here and we were to look at the mixer, this shows me all of my audio levels. You can see that my camera has an audio if it were to have that. Alert box has an audio, which we'll cover in a second. But my microphone has an audio, which is the biggest thing that we need to know. And obviously desktop audio is huge, and Elgato audio is huge. That's how I record my consoles. So now that we've added a mic to it, let me add a desktop, so that way you can still see what I'm doing without having too much to worry about it. So, if we add a display capture, this will actually record the entire monitor as we're doing it. So, add source. Notice how it's picking that up, but let me show you what a new one looks like. Display. Add source. And we're going to pick this monitor just like so. And now we can come over here and you can see my entire layout, how you see both of these, now just one, and everything over here, my audio levels are going good, and the fact that I'm recording. So let's add my B camera so you can see my face. So remember the drill, grab the source. This time, we're going to add video capture device. Notice how it says built-in webcam, Logitech webcam, and capture cards. So, if you have an Elgato and you want to go ahead and record it there, you can grab your Elgato from here. But I'm going to grab my camera. Now that I've grabbed my camera, you notice that it's not quite filled to the frame. That's because this is a crop sensor camera, so it's not going to be quite right. So, what I need to do is I'm going to hold down Alt on my keyboard, and I'm going to drag this in. Drag this in. And we're going to just crop in on the different angles. Now, something to note while I do this is that you can't crop in at a diagonal, and I'll show you right here. See how when I pull on the diagonal nothing happens? That's because it doesn't really quite know how to scale it. But if I were to come in here and scale it down, it scales at a correct axis. So we're going to go ahead and scale this down. We're going to throw this in the lower third. Just like that. And you can actually see how I see it right there based off of the little monitor view. Now that we have these three, you can hear me, you can see what I'm doing. There's still a couple things that I want to go over. Obviously you know scaling works, you know how all these work, but let's say I am streaming and I want to do some alerts. Well, we're going to come over here to widgets. Notice how you see essential right here. Go ahead and select that. Add the source, add it. Now we have an alert box. What's an alert box, you say? Well, you know when you get like a subscriber or a donation or something or another, and then this pops up? Yeah, that. Well, let's see what we can do about that. We're going to add the desktop audio real quick. To do that, we're going to add audio output capture. Desktop audio. Let me show you what a new source looks like. Desk audio. Default is usually your best, but usually pick whichever your sound is coming out of. So if you have headphones, I recommend putting them there so that way your mic doesn't loop it. Or if you're me right now, I just have it coming out of my monitor, so it's coming right there. And now we can see it over here, confirmed. I like to make sure that these are on the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead, test it. Yep, looks like everything's working. So let's go ahead and talk about the alert box. So if you ever want to edit something, just go ahead and double click it. It'll take you to the properties, or you can right click and then go to properties. Now, we can adjust the direct height and the direct width from here. Use custom refresh rates. We can have this set to have the text on the bottom, the middle, and on the top. But let's take a look. So donations are the Pikachu, right? But I don't really want the Pikachu. So how do I change it, you say? So let's go ahead and go to media, change media, and then you can upload some directly if you make your own, or you're gonna look up some stock ones. So we're gonna look up some stock ones, and I really like, I'm gonna add this one, the plankton. So now we have the plankton. Let's go ahead and select it. Cool, cool. Let's go ahead and test it. I believe that was donations, so if I do donations, you'll see the plankton instead of the Pikachu this time. Everything is virtually customizable in this. If you open up the properties, you can pretty much fiddle with anything. Now, let me show you a really cool feature. Something I think you all are really gonna like, especially my gamers out there. We're gonna go ahead and open a new source. We're gonna open up game capture. What game capture does is you can look directly in there for a very specific window, or you can do auto. Notice how it says looking for a game to capture. Well, I currently don't have a game open right now, but if I did, it would be capturing the game directly. But I like to do specific windows, so that way you can go ahead and check it out, and it'll get that there. Also keep in mind that if you're ever not sure about something it does, click it, fiddle around with it, don't like it, delete it. Now that we got all this set up, probably something that you're really going to want to know is going live. So if you were to hit go live, you can do a couple of things here. First thing you can do is you can schedule out a stream, meaning that if you're streaming to YouTube, or in this case, you can go ahead and set up the title, description, any hashtags that are coming with it, what category, what privacy, select the thumbnail, you can directly upload it, stream latency right here, you can do DVR, and then you also can schedule it for the exact date and time. But let's say I don't want to do that and I just want to go ahead and go live. So you can go live right here, create a new event, and it does all the same thing, but you just go right away. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We will gladly talk. I can share my screen at any point in time. And I hope this helps all of the streamers and recorders out there to get stuff done. I will be doing a basic editing video later if there's a demand for that. Just go ahead and let me know about that. But hope you all have a great rest of your day and enjoy your streaming.